So 561 Music now has a hotline. You can call us anytime at 561-203-9122 and ask us any questions you like. Some humorous ones or something about the guests we've had on the show, or questions about gear, or questions about the festival, or anything you like. It's, of course, 561-203-9122. We would love to hear from you. We did a pretty fun little message, so you get to hear that too. Even if you just call up to listen to me and Hector trying to do a good phone message, that's a good enough reason. But yeah, we'd love to hear from you, so please get in touch.
Take a better scene. It's what we're doing. Come and check it out. It's what we're all about. 561 Music.
Welcome to 561 Music. My name's Ben.
And I'm Hector.
And what's so funny, Hector?
I don't know. We're just having a good time already, man.
Yeah, it's true. So this weekend, we went to O'Shea's on Friday.
We did go to Oasis, and it was a party.
Yeah, man. These days, it always is.
Yeah, it was fun, man.
Yeah, we sold a bunch of T-shirts, not to sound too like about the dollar, but it was
all of the crazy people came out to see us on Friday, but that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
I enjoy that.
They were the good crazy.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun crazy. It wasn't weird crazy.
Exactly.
It wasn't scary crazy, so that's good. Yeah.
And then had a bit of a square grouper visit from 3 to 6. That was cool.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember if anything of note happened there. No, I think it was just a reg square grouper gig, which are great. You know, it's nice.
Yeah.
It was actually it's a bit of a boring thing to talk about, but it was the most beautiful day on Saturday day.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. And then Paddy Max.
As opposed to the last time you were there, and it rained like
Sideways.
crazies and just like ruined gear and everything.
I think it probably screwed up your power supply for your pedal that day, didn't it? Do you think, no, that wasn't it.
No, that was a 561 Music Festival. We won't talk about
that. I saw that. How did that go?
Oh, yeah, it went
terrible.
good, man.
It was terrible. We're never doing it again.
I wanted to volunteer for that, and he had a show up in Gainesville, so we ended up going up there for that. But I saw that weekend. I was like, dang it. I'm like, next year, I'm going to volunteer. I'm so sorry. That was a big deal. But
next year, you guys are planning the festival, man.
Oh,
You just don't know it yet.
All right.
Let's draw a little line under this. We have Bear Maze with us today. How's it going, guys?
Just delightful.
Happy to be here.
So we've got two Nicks and a Brian. or Nick, and Brian. And in that order.
Yep.
So that's great.
Yep, there we are.
Yeah.
Nick, and Brian.
Perfect.
Hi, I'm Brian.
So, thanks so much for coming down here. I've been checking out your music, and it is just, I love it. I love you guys.
Hell yeah.
Thanks.
I feel like it's so classy. It's like, I feel like I've like transported to like somewhere cool like Portland or something like that.
Not Florida.
I spent some time in Portland, and some of these songs came from the travels on the West Coast. So
Really?
I think maybe there might be some energy there. Yeah.
Oh, that's
cool.
awesome.
And some of the songs came from O'Shea's, which I heard you mention earlier.
Yeah.
And I just have to say, that's an old haunt. When I was living in Lake Worth, both my roommates were Irish. Shout out Sean and Tom, and they definitely carried me home a few nights. So yeah, it was,
Nice.
Yeah, I've had some nights at O'Shea's where I could barely walk towards the end of it. There was one time.
Do you know Alan?
Yeah.
That's my guy. Alan's my guy.
My guy. Yeah,
Alan,
my guy.
Alan's my guy there too. I love that guy.
All right, cool. So what happened to you? What?
Okay, so 1 year Killbillies played 12 hours in there for we've done it since, and it's been okay, especially now we don't drink, but back in the day when we did drink, we played 12 hours, and over the course of the night the bass player Luke had a hernia on stage. and then one of the other guys in the band decided it would be a good idea to like run up the side of a wall, but then he fell down and dislocated his shoulder.
Jeez, that's awesome.
This was after thankfully after we played, and it was this whole hullabaloo. I had to go to hospital with him and everything. It was crazy. So that back in the day, that was almost like a typical night at O'Shea's.
Good times.
But I have to say,
That never happened to me.
I bet you can remember at least.
Yeah. Well, as a result, I've packed in the drinking because of nights like that, of which there was getting
For
more
safety
and more.
reasons. He doesn't drink anymore.
You're the better man.
Yeah, man. So why don't we get into some questions? I wanted to ask you guys, how did you find yourselves getting into music? What were your early years like? Were your parents supportive? That kind of stuff. And we'll start with you, Nick.
Yeah, well, my journey starts with that Nick, more or less. Basically, I remember playing at his house because Nick and I were in a band in high school called Resignation of Today with our best friends Richie Schnellbacher and Matthew Jeske. And
Had you learn how to play guitar prior to that, or was that the very beginning of it?
You were like a classic rock kid or something, right?
He called me Zeppelin in high school because I had a Zeppelin sweater. But I started playing guitar July 9th, 2001. And the first song that
very specific.
The first song I learned was Pink Panther. And it was
serious?
on a
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I was teaching Pink Panther today.
Oh,
like about 3 hours ago, I was teaching
Shout
someone
out
to
Pink
play.
Panther.
I might need to take lessons because I forgot how to play it, but I might come back for that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then I was on a Jasmine or Takamine, and then
Take a mine.
Is that Italian? I don't know.
I have to say,
It's a Japanese company. So
It's the Japanese.
Yeah.
Takamine. All right.
Yeah, I don't know what the official way of saying is. I call them takaminis.
Well,
Or mini tacos.
Hector calls them take mines.
Take mines.
that was my guitar, yeah. And then, but anyways, yeah, I learned up until a point. I took lessons from actually at Jupiter Music from a guy. I think his name is Dave, who played in a local band at the time called Box Elder, and he taught me like what I know. And it got to a point after like a year and a half where I was like, I went sideways, did not want to learn how to read or write anymore, and I was like, I learned Weezer and Linkin Park, I'm good. Let me just go for it, and then so I just kind of like started playing by ear ever since then, and
Right.
So like now, it's recent. I recently was watching like a video on Elliott Smith and how he writes songs, and he describes so many things that I feel like came naturally in a weird way. It was like looking at your instrument like as shapes, and then also just throwing on the fifth on all your chords and just playing with those bass notes. Those are things that like I just gravitated towards, and so
Cool.
yeah.
That's awesome. What about you, Nick? How did you find yourself playing music?
I got possessed by ska music really early. I mean, I was in like
feel
choir
that,
when
yeah.
I was in elementary school, and once I got a little older, I started playing the saxophone, and I was probably around 6th grade.
Were your parents like,
They
did they guide
into
you
it.
through
My
it?
parents were super cool. They didn't exactly like want me to be a musician, but when I showed up, like, hey, I think I want to play saxophone, they're like, yeah, let's do it. So I was sitting around squawking real loud, and
That was me.
yeah, I had a really similar thing with Nick. Like, I learned how to read and write, and I hated it, and I just heard things in my own mind. So I played and like kind of wrote my own stuff, but it really didn't start until I started playing bass.
Right.
I started listening to Less Than Jake and hearing Rancid and all the Matt Freeman stuff, and I was like, I just want to play walking bass forever, and listening to NoFX a whole bunch. So I got a bass amp and figured out how to make a pick out of a credit card, and then just like went for it. Played a lot with Matthew Jeske, who was in our high school band, and worked in like ska bands for a long time. Then
Yeah, man.
punk bands.
I
and-
just loved ska punk. I spent 10 years playing ska punk over in the UK. I was in a band called Sonic Boom 6, which is like, ska
Oh,
core.
hell
I just
yeah.
loved that stuff,
I just
man.
love it so much. Less Than Jake was one of my absolute favorites. And
Yeah.
Made me
did,
wanna, like,
some
move to
tours with
Gainesville
those
when I was
guys.
younger.
Awesome band.
So good. But yeah, my parents were super supportive. We had a stupid big house in like a ritzy country club, and
Right.
we would have full volume band practice in the living room,
Excellent.
pissing off everybody. Nick would come stammering through the door, way too young, intoxicated, and we would have band practice like a number of nights a week, and just like was completely possessed by songwriting and
Oh, cool.
wanting to just like play shows as much as possible.
That's so awesome.
And I was fortunate enough, like when I was in 9th grade, I met Lucas Lamar, who is a twin brother of Brian Lamar. And he just was like one of the first kids I met who was like trying to write his own music. And we like brought tape recorders to school and like showed each other bass lines.
Nice.
And then I got to meet Brian and then like his band when he was in high school. And they
How
were
old
so
are you
driven.
guys?
What's that?
How old are you guys?
I'm 34.
Right, yeah, okay.
I'm 33 and a half.
So we got like 10 years on you. Gotcha. I was just curious. I couldn't
or 20.
couldn't tell. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah, so
Karen.
like I just had friends like in Brian and Lucas and his friend Jeff that they were so determined in touring that it was like really inspiring. And all through high school, there was for some reason like hardcore and metal was really big, and we were just playing shows every weekend. And it was just like all of my friends were musicians. If you weren't a musician, like you weren't really my friend.
Sure.
And it was just like all about it. So it's just
awesome.
carried through, and
That's our life now.
yeah.
If you're that musician, I probably don't know you.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's it. There's only so many hours in the day, so many people you can know. I would prefer that we're all musicians.
Yeah, right. Super fun.
Yeah, man. What about you, Brian? How'd you find yourself playing music?
I got into music probably about when I was 14. I had a little like false start when I was 8. My stepdad was a jazz drummer, and he set up the kit in the living room and then gave me like some awfully boring practice, like a metronome, just like keep this tempo, tick, tick,
Yeah.
tick. And I lost interest, and I think he was like, good. So I picked it up like several years later, and I was 14. I took lessons at Jupiter Music too for
cool.
a couple years, and then just been banging around ever since.
That's fantastic. I love Jupiter Music. I go in there all the time. It's like I love the sort of feel of it. You know, it's like feels like a family-run joint. You
Is
know?
Steve
Yeah.
still in there?
So Steve is my neighbor.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
shoot.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, he literally lives next door to me. I look after his cats.
Okay.
all the time.
He'd always
Stevie
like be in the
Cats.
back
Yeah.
looking up with his frames on the bridge of his nose, and just like he was in there, and he was a good guy. He looked out for all of us.
Absolutely, man. And I just go. I look for excuses to go in there. I'm like, I recently just brought my violin in there, which I probably play like, once every 6 months, and was like, it needs fixing. Not really. I just wanted to go and talk about it in Jupiter Music.
Just want to hang out. Just say, hey.
Exactly. I have this. I really butchered that thing. I put frets on it, so just
Oh, God.
just because I thought I don't know what I was thinking.
Gonna make it
honestly.
easier, right? No.
Yeah, but you get these stickers. You can order them online, and you just stick it onto the thing. But they're like raised, though. It's not just like a picture of frets.
Wow.
They're like slightly raised. So I put that thing on there, and I don't know. At some point, it's probably going to come off. I wouldn't be surprised if the guy who's fixing my violin just takes it off like out of spite. Because
You don't need this kid. Just learn.
It's like, what the hell is this? Yeah. I wouldn't blame him at all.
I got a violin. I took lessons, and because I was obsessed with Andrew Bird, and I'm like, this is gonna be great. And then it was impossible. Like, just,
Yeah,
it
it's
was like,
hard.
it's like you got to be committed to that one. So I was like, yeah.
So the banjo player in our band, James, he's picked up the violin recently, and most people, I would say, probably unlikely he'll learn it. But he taught himself how to play the banjo in 3 years, and that's really hard to do it properly. So, wouldn't be surprised if he pulls something out the bag. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So, how did the band come together? How did this all start?
I don't know a delicate way to describe the state of mind that I was in when I just had like this almost like just really I had a super close call in life, and then like I just had this like coming to where I don't know, somehow I saw this guy like he was like in like he was just surrounding like there was like him and like several angelic figures and what have you, and it was just like it was the most like one of the most spiritual moments of like or just realizations or something, and it was weird because maybe I don't know, I mean you can't pin this guy down, like I don't know expectations, but
I was in Colorado at the time.
Right.
It was crazy, but like but we do share a lot of music history together, and so it's pretty cool. But I guess how it came out is that I kind of like I tried to walk away from music and kind of just not I kind of felt like it was just a weird tortured part that I wasn't sure how to integrate into my life.
Yeah.
And then so what happened was during and basically my late 20s, like I was in Lake Worth, just kind of felt like a bit just lost, and so started long story short, I ended up out in Hawaii, and then just kind of like reconfiguring like my moral compass and like just situation in life, and then that helped me kind of realize how important music was, and then that's when I started writing. Just started pen to paper, just writing songs, and then I came back, and it just happened that I was able to record at Brian's studio. But what had happened, I guess, is that Nick and I like ended up like I don't know if you heard songs at Brian's studio or how like
you
we
like,
really
were possessed and shared them with me. Like I think you should be playing music with me. I would like you to play music.
okay.
And I flew to Florida.
Oh my gosh,
Oh, wow.
I forgot what I shared which songs I might have shared with you, but like yeah,
It was like Annihilate and something else. There were a
Okay.
couple other ones, yeah.
That's awesome. You flew to Florida to do it?
I was out in the middle of fucking nowhere building a apocalyptic marauder out of a school bus because it was like mid 2020. Things were dicey, so I had bought a school bus after the pandemic broke out, and then started converting it to make it so I could be off grid and not have to
Mad Max stuff, man.
It was totally Mad Max. It's got a motorcycle mustache and solar panels on the roof.
Did you have the big speakers and then?
I got a whole little studio in it. Like we're working on the outside speakers. I want to blare Brahms, but regardless, he was like, "Yo, I really think you need to come out here and like work on some jams," and just like got a flight. And I don't know. After playing the music, it was something that like, one, we didn't really rehearse that much. We played a little bit, and like I've played in rhythm sections with Brian a lot in different configurations, and we just like got in the studio and were able to like make stuff happen really easily. Nice. And I walked away feeling really inspired and just feeling a lot of energy around the music that Nick was making, and like kind of like this weird subliminal message that he was still trying to figure out like what it meant. And as we've played more, we've kind of gotten more clear on like what we're trying to do or like what the overall ethos of the whole thing is.
So just sort of following up on that, what is the overall ethos of the whole thing?
I think maybe everyone has a different answer or can word it differently, but like one thing that's been coming to mind is serving the hands with the light, or serving the light with the hands of darkness.
Right on.
But it feels like that because a lot of things came about with like this sort of like psychological like necessity to try to integrate with your unconscious and like your shadow and your dark side, and like so trying
the Jungian stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And that was like really big at that time of life in that season. And so grappling with that was like you realize like you're in the muck of it, and it's not beautiful. It's a bit morbid, but you're trying to find the silver lining in it all. And through that, like, it's kind of like even, it's like you're trying to find that beauty in the tragedy of it all.
Sure. Interestingly enough, around 2020, my brother and his wife wrote a song called Shadow, all about that, and they ended up putting it out, and it ended up doing really well. Around exactly the same time as you were thinking about all this stuff, so was I, and like having a great long conversation with my brother and stuff.
All right.
I think it was a time where we just had like elements of the collective psyche just bashing into each other. So there was a lot of that was really present, and we all felt it pretty strong. It was wild.
Yeah, no doubt, man. To be honest with you, I mean, it's obviously a tragedy because people died, but it was when the pandemic came. It was necessary for me. It's right when I got sober, and I definitely had a shift in my thinking around that time.
Definitely started changing a lot.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of what Hawaii was for me. It was this sort of like, and I understand that it's a very like it's a difficult thing because there's a lot of history with the indigenous peoples there, but that land and like that culture that they like, it forces you to like confront a lot, and like it was very, I was very grateful for that. But
how did you end up there? You just went out there to
it was like a musical acquaintance invited me out there, and when I got out there, I ended up just I ended up on the windward side in Pahoa, which is like kind of like a bit of a Wild West because it's just a lot of recent lava flows and just kind of off the grid living, and it's just the strangest thing because there's a lot of it's difficult because I'm pretty much I'm a haole, and I don't really feel like it's my right to be there, but I'm very grateful for the opportunity to have like learned from the people and the culture there. So it's like, so maybe I could have maybe tried to live there, but I wanted to keep going, and I didn't want to come back to Florida. Born and raised, and I do not hate Florida. It's just that I haven't been able to really find my tribe here. I found really good individuals, and I've latched on, like again, Nick and Brian, like these are like, but again, I've known them like most of my life, like off and on more or less, right? So Florida just feels like I have a weird relationship with my home here because it's like my family's here, but all I want to do is just see the world and like keep going. But yeah.
That's fascinating.
I know exactly what you mean, man. I was born and raised here.
Oh yeah.
Everything, like all my work stuff, all my friends, my family, everything's here. But I want nothing more than to live like in like the mountains in North Carolina or something, away from all this.
Hector, where were you born? Or like where did you grow up?
Right here, West Palm Beach.
Oh, dang. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So you remember those old joints? Like, do you remember Spanky's?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I just
Red
remember
Rays
about
Had
that.
some
Blues.
times there.
Yeah. Spanky's used to have some crazy cool bands. Like,
Crazy
they used to get some
shows.
national bands through there and stuff. It was crazy.
That's cool.
Yeah, I've heard all about it. It's one of those things where, you know, I hear the stories and I've seen sort of like clips of it, you know, from. And didn't someone make a documentary out about it?
Yeah.
Like a.
Yeah.
Was it a Tesh?
Yeah,
I don't know.
it
Possibly.
rings a bell, that name, when you say
Okay.
that. So
I don't
but,
know.
Yeah, feel like I've seen like parts of that on like YouTube and stuff. I want to know more. You know, it's one of those things where I just sort of I live here and I'm so engrossed in like the music and the music scene, and it's always irritating when there's just a thing
It's
out
just
of
like-
reach. You know, I'll never know what that
Well,
was.
it's just an
Yeah.
empty lot there now.
Oh,
They
It's a
knocked the
parking
building
lot.
down. It's just it's not even a parking
Or
lot.
it's
It's
the
just an
grass.
it's just grass. It's an
I
empty
think
lot.
it's
I think
crazy.
you passed out
Even
in
like
that grass.
no, but even Lake Worth, like, because I lived there for a couple years before COVID, and then coming back, it's even Lake Worth feels just like an entirely different place. I mean, so it's strange.
Well, just the development and everything.
It
is
is.
just
It's
crazy.
expensive, and it's just a different. They're just catering to more money, and and even I mean, they did not plan at all. I mean, I think Palm Beach posted an article, but they knew that this was going to happen, and the value of the property was going to skyrocket. But these big developers didn't. They didn't want to have affordable housing, so it was just this whole thing. And now a lot of people are pushed out. Like I came back to work in West Palm, and I've worked off and on for like 7 years in West Palm, but I can't afford to live there off 25% of my income.
I've heard that from a lot of people. I have friends that have been doing different things, artist friends and things like that, and they don't have traditional jobs, so they're glass blowers or painters or whatever, and
But
they
a
just,
glass blower is ironically a traditional job, but like the different type of traditional. like a historical job.
No, well, but what I mean by traditional,
exactly what you mean. It's
like a
just maybe
9-to-5 thing. This is
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I mean, and there actually are glass blowers that are 9-to-5 that are creating like the everyday stuff that you
Yeah.
get at like Target,
Yeah.
But I'm talking about like an artist.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But same thing though. I mean, they're not making money hand over fist, and then all of a sudden their rent is 5 times what it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Crazy.
It is, man. I feel lucky. We just sort of like, before the massive blow up of the thing, we got a house, and I guess now we're just sitting on it. We were talking about it earlier, weren't we? And we were just saying like, oh, sure, I could sell it for loads of money right now, but then where would I live?
You're just gonna buy a more
Yeah.
expensive
Yeah.
house.
Just wait, man. Wait it out.
Exactly. Unless I move to another state or something.
So
but,
the lesson is to always own 2 properties at all times. That's the goal.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
When it goes up, you sell
good
one,
luck.
you still
Good
got
luck,
the
pal.
other.
Yeah. I'm telling yourself that.
So do you guys have a writing process?
Yeah, Nick writes everything. He writes all of the music, like in terms of songs, and then I like to think that Brian and I are just kind of facilitators.
Everything we've ever actually recorded has been done in the evening we've heard it for the first time.
Wow.
Like he comes into the studio and we probably bang out
which
like
studio?
5 songs.
They're
in a
called
night.
like bone sessions.
Where's the
yeah.
studio?
Raincat
Recording
Studio.
Studio.
Yeah,
Raincat
Raincat
Studio.
Studios in Jensen Beach.
Yeah, cool. I still never been there, and I've just heard so much about it. I've got to get up there, man. I've got to
Yeah,
come
man.
check it out.
That's
I'd love
cool.
to.
It's awesome.
Fucking iconic.
Whenever you're
yeah.
welcome.
It's kind of like they just foster like all the good things. Like when you go in there, like it's a sanctuary. I mean, I spent a year recording. Like we're sitting on so much material just in the vault because we're kind of in this process of like just dripping singles and seeing
Every month. Every month we got
So
a
we
single.
every month 1 to 2 songs and but these sessions with Brian and Jeff, like it's very much just like they're just trying to like bring out whatever it is your vision is, and it's like it's just that whole process again like is so it's just such a powerful thing if you can ever like get on that, and that was along the lines of like again grappling with like all in that Jungian fashion of like that whole thing.
And it does so like the same thing for me when I was first coming back to Florida, like from Colorado, because I'm dropping into the space that like my best friends, like I spent so much time with Brian and Jeff and like went out on tour with them and sitting in rehearsal spaces and just like they're like a fundamental part of my entire musical journey, and see them like I was there in their first studio and to see like the studio build and then it's like this epic space where then like my other musical goon best friend is like we have all these ideas and then we're just able to just like have I don't know. It's like high school
me.
us would just lose our goddamn minds.
We're like doing things we wish we would have done in high school.
That's so awesome.
But I did want to call this out because it seems like kind of masturbatory, like when you're just writing things and then like you want to do them. But I think like the magic is like when you get especially if you're like, if you have friends that have chemistry like that, like to have that, because like then what happens is like when we were in a band, I remember the process of writing a song was like you just couldn't see around the corner, and it just took all these turns, and that was a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
This is different because yes, I'm writing a lot, but then what happens is like when we get in the studio, it's like, okay, oh, Nick should scream that, or like we just start playing off each other and like seeing like how it expresses itself, and like that's it. I mean, it's not, I don't know, it's not what we had, but
what an unbelievably wonderful place to be writing and recording tunes. I just like that band grown out of like Raincat. That's so cool.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
And it is like you said too, is like because it's so fresh, because they probably not heard the song, like just straight up.
No. The
going
night
in,
we
like,
hear like 5 songs, we're like, okay, I think we got it. Track it. Like none of that stuff was super rehearsed, so it's like
no
the most raw kind of creative recording you could do, I guess.
Are you writing all the parts, or are you just kind of bringing the song and you guys
He
are?
hits us with like chord charts and words.
just the bass, and then there's like, and then I'm like, okay, find your vision within that, and then like we'll follow, and then like we'll latch on and go.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, like I feel like but even the process of tracking, it's so much fun, because like he'll start just like Nick will just start like freestyling and just talking shit, like it's hilarious. Like I don't know, there's so many parts on our songs where like he's just improvising like or ad-libbing like just, I don't know, something around the motif, like so it's a lot of like that, and then just tracking, like we've got horn players, and then even Jeff does instrumentation, and even hearing what someone does on a foundation, you're like, oh, I just wouldn't have heard that, didn't see it.
Oh my
Thank
God.
God they did that.
If you ever need any weird instruments, I would chop off my right leg to come and play something.
We got one that's just yearning for a hurdy-gurdy.
Hurdy intro.
One of the coolest things about working with Nick too is like, because I consider him a wild person and like cannot be contained. So like when he's inviting us into space, he's like, I really want your vision here, and I'm not going to tell you too much. Yeah. So like he'll like start to get a sense of like, I don't like that, I do, but it's not controlled at all.
It's pretty
That's
free.
awesome.
It's pretty free. It's like, I want your energy on it, and just like keep doing it.
He wants your input. He wants your
super
kinda,
cool.
Yeah, your touch
and
on it.
then he's also trying to get us to do 5 songs in one session. So it's like, all right, well, I don't have time to work on that. So I think it was a good one.
So you guys have really just been pumping him out, huh?
It's insane.
Yeah, like
It's
just
like a year of a lot of recording.
Yeah, and it was that process of recording that like I couldn't live without. Like I was like, I didn't save any money. I took everything I made and just started throwing it at the studio time, to be able to like work through that, because it was Bear Maze is like one of those things where like it's cool because like it's a band and all, but like it's a psychological journey that like I just it's like because like I'm trying to grow, I'm trying to externalize the things, because like you just, when you're writing, like if you're really honest with yourself, you're like, man, I hate that about myself, or like I feel self-conscious, or like if you feel ugly, you see the monster in yourself, but then you confront that and you write through it, and then like, and I like to hit it with a little sprinkle of humor, just to try to like, because like the world's not, it's just, it's tragic, but it's also like there is beauty, and like, and you can't forget that.
Absolutely, and a lot of times people, the kind of music as therapy subjects will come up on this podcast, but very rarely do I feel like people mean it. And I feel right now I'm 100% sure that you're completely honest with it, just how it's coming across. And I think that's a beautiful thing, because, I try to be when I write. I think it's probably one of the most, it's one of the most important things to me, to get that kind of, that little kernel of truth in there, the honesty. And I think it's cool. And you can tell by the way the music sounds too. It's awesome.
Yeah. It's daunting, because I feel like everything I want to say has already been said by like Oscar Wilde or like Mark Twain, and they're just like, they can just shut it down. Like they're just, they're bit, heavy handed with that. But yeah, like I do follow in that vein. And I have to say, with the Hawaii experience, that was part of it. It was like, I ended up trading work on people's land for music lessons. Yeah. What it made me realize was like, these people knew music, like they were in, like they they've done Philharmonic. They've been in big deal either jazz and classical scenes across the world, and they were teaching me standards, like Take the A Train and stuff. And it was like so humbling because it just made me realize like you can, I don't know, it's just like the more you give to music, the more it gives back to you. And and when you have to like learn those things sometimes, like, and you're just like, you're relearn them, you just kind of take it for granted and you don't treat it right. And but try to sit down, song a day. Or if you're not, writing, then just learn and just, try to absorb, because that's going to come through in its own way.
For sure. And that kind of ties into a question we love to ask on here, which is, do you practice? Do you sit at home and just practice your guitar?
Right now, I feel like I'm just posting on social media, doing dumb content. I'm wearing wigs. Just I don't know, just ad-libbing some goofy stuff. I'm trying to wear the marketing hat. Like, dang, I'm trying to shepherd these songs into the world. And like, gotcha. I feel like, to be straight up, like I feel like we practiced for this. Like, we definitely practiced. But I don't know. I think you guys have different.
I don't like to like really think of practice as practice that much. Like, I like to play a lot. I will play a lot because it's just something that I feel good doing, and it's not necessarily like, I'm not spending a bunch of time like working over the rudiments of my bass playing.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm playing a bunch of piano for a period of time, like, that helps my bass playing. If I'm like possessed by the accordion for a bit, that helps my bass playing. If I'm playing bass, that helps piano playing. Yeah, it helps. So like, I just like to keep at it and make sure I'm like enjoying myself, and there's something moving within me. So that's my main deal.
What about you, Brian? Do you practice?
I mean, sit down and have traditional practice sessions, not as much as I would like. I play a fair amount in the studio, but it's often like playing the right part for that song in the moment.
Do you find yourself doing like a lot of like session work there? Then,
I do a lot of session work, a lot of session drums, and I play keys as well.
What's this over there? What's the setup in terms of engineering and stuff? Like, do you work as an engineer primarily, and then occasionally you'll just do some drums on there?
So me and my partner Jeff are very changeable, so we both wear the engineer and producer hats.
Yeah.
But we've been playing music together for over 20 years. So
right.
He plays guitar and bass, and I'm a drummer and a keyboard player.
Yeah.
So like, say I need to play drums, he'll track me. If he needs to play guitar or bass on someone's song, I'll track them.
Yeah.
And
so
then,
did you two guys just running the whole operation?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah,
We don't have any interns or anything, but between the both of us, I mean, that's kind of all you need.
Yeah,
you
sure.
know, so we pretty much get it done.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Ben, can I want to run this by you and see what you think. But this is like, because this is weird, because like I was going through a phase where I was on, like, I had the Tidal streaming app, and I was going through daily listening, like what Henry Rollins calls is like, there's like protein listening, which is new music, and then there's like fat listening, which is like what you just love. And
that's so Henry Rollins. I love it.
Yeah, and he's like, so Monday through Friday, you're on protein listening. The weekends, you get your fat listening. And so I was just on protein listening, and I was just like going through new music, just trying to like absorb.
Yeah.
And eventually I had to cancel subscriptions because of financial reasons. But after that happened, I've been like without music for the most part, like just streaming it regularly. Like, it's just not a thing. And I really took that for granted. But then what happened was I just started taking ice skating lessons, because like I just wanted to know, like, I just wanted to feel that, and then just get away from music altogether. And
Right.
like, and that just not practicing has been kind of like a palate cleanser in its own. Did you ever go through that?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while, but I know exactly what you mean. One of the times, so I'm almost always bring an instrument with me wherever I go. And there was one time when I went home to England, and I didn't bring an instrument with me. And my dad was like, "What's the matter? Like, what's
Are you
going
sick?
on? What's up?" Yeah, and actually there was some stuff going on with me, and I was, going through some weird stuff, but I did enjoy that time, just like stepping back from it, because I never step back from it. And just having a little break, I think is important, absolutely, once in a while. No doubt about it.
I really agree. I've had a number of phases of my life where it's like, it's still in the back of my mind, I'm still working on it, but I don't have my hands on an instrument all the time. And anytime I come back, it is so like refreshed and like refined, and I just like get better, because it's like music's always churning in my mind. It's an experience that I'm having like all the time, and to get away from just like the the conditioning around like what it feels like to play, or what I think it is to play, or what I want to play. It just does such a thing to start to like reimagine it and come at it in a new way.
Yeah, totally. It's like on a more grand scale, the same thing as when you get a new guitar or you put a capo on, you approach the instrument in a different way. You know, it's like that, but like way more. Yeah.
That's what I love about playing different instruments too.
Yeah.
There's just like elements to each instrument that can like teach me something different about everything else. And I get a more like rounded, like, I don't know, more defined vision of music.
No, absolutely. And one of the things that the accompanist, my main instrument when I was young was the saxophone, and my accompanist said one time to me, she was like, don't learn. When I was talking about all these different instruments I wanted to learn, she was like, "Be careful going down that road because you become a jack of all trades, master of none." Ironically, that is exactly what I became, but I feel like, I mean, I'm almost a master of some. You know, it's not like...
Yeah, pretty close, yeah.
But like, I just like, I chose that path, you know. I prefer it.
Yeah,
'Cause I definitely find it really interesting learning about new instruments as well. Yeah,
It's so weird, like with the sound and like the way I engage with music is so different than these guys, because like in like each like respectively, because like Nick can he can play in sound, like he can get into sound. Like I'm like anti I don't know how to put it, like I'm such a purist in that way. Like I just want to be alone with my acoustic guitar. Like
Right.
I don't want to know all the knobs and all the things, and that's like where these guys come in, like is like different. Like I just don't. And like also like I think there's so many musical projects going on across all of us, because like Bear Maze is just like, that's like where we all come together. But like if you were to list out all the bands like Brian and Sovereign Sons, or Nick with gosh, I don't even know how many musical projects.
I mean, like
got,
three of them right now.
Yeah, Loris and Gainesville.
Loris and Gainesville, Other Rooms, and got a solo accordion stuff.
Yeah,
it's just so I don't know, just so different, I guess. But yeah, I've never anyways, I forgot the point. I don't know, never mind.
I'm sure there was one in there somewhere. So you guys have got a lot of jazz in your sound. Have you studied jazz?
By ear.
Yeah, cool.
I've listened to a lot of jazz. Yeah, I was in like a jazz combo once in college. I sucked. It was pretty bad. I got my ass kicked.
I'm in a similar situation.
I got my ass kicked. I played bass in an R&B band in college too, and I did not get my ass kicked in that. And that was like, all right, cool. We'll just play bass. We won't do guitar like that. I try. I've been listening to a lot of Jeff Parker lately and Tortoise.
Yeah.
And Isotope 217, and like their weird angular version of jazz just delights me so much. So there's been a lot of that in my ears lately.
Yeah, awesome. It's one of these things where, I'll approach it, and at times I'll feel like I'm starting to get there. But being very, very good at jazz is so
It's
hard.
different.
I can give you two cover songs on the spot. That's it. It's Caetano Veloso's cover of "Get Out of Town" by Cole Porter, and then it's the Barney Kessel, Julie London arrangement of "Swonderful." Those are the only two. And I don't know how. I must have watched the YouTube videos or something like a million times, but I do respect, like, I don't know. I just never could play it. Like our horn players, they know what time
jazz
it is.
players.
They do their homework. Yeah,
they studied. But one thing I do want to mention is like when I don't know how old we were. It was when you were living in the house on Pluto's first moon. Nick used to live next to a bunch of like sand dunes, and we would stay up too late and get high and go walk around. But Nick got really possessed by Django Reinhardt at one point, and like that was my first introduction to like hot jazz. You got pretty good at it there for a bit.
That's
and
awesome.
With the accordion, I got invited into some like hot jazz scenes in Gainesville and out in Boulder and Denver, Colorado. And that is a really accessible kind of jazz. It's like it moves real nice. It's got jazz idioms, but it's got very similar idioms. So you're not bebopping. You're not going nuts doing Charlie Parker stuff. And it's like, all right, I can fit here. This is all right. It's all right.
Brian, how does jazz fit in when we're doing songs like in the studio? Because I feel like there's been times where I'm like, let's make that jazzy or something. Like, I don't know. How does that?
I mean, just in a drumming perspective, sometimes your music does require that kind of traditional like
that little swing.
Oh yeah, for sure. So you got to like swing a lot with the rhythmic elements of your music, and it like requires it to get it right. Like,
but you also need a heavy foot.
Yeah, I mean, you have rock too, so you're pretty jazz heavy, and at least in the influence. But and your chord structure too, and the way you voice chords and everything is really jazzy.
Yeah.
You know, so for sure. I mean, and
I wish we would have. There's a few songs that have like serious jazz breakdowns that are not streaming yet, but like there's been some times where like we're just swinging and we got
I'm not
so
really
much
a
fun.
jazz drummer, so it's like I can play in the rudimentary areas of that music style, but I'm a rock drummer. You know, so I do my best to like play to the song, but also we're not a jazz band.
Right.
Even if you're playing jazz chords, we're just not a jazz
We're just
band.
not a jazz
So,
band. None of us really have jazz.
yeah, so it works out.
I feel irreverent like holding a Randy Rhoads Jackson and like just finger picking jazz chords.
I just think it's great. We were talking about that back there. I just thought it was a spectacular choice of guitar.
Yeah, all right.
So cool. So you've been releasing singles as far as I could tell, right? Just one after another on there. Have you got like about 5 out at the moment? Right?
No, we have gosh,
It's like 10 or
Like 10.
10 to
More.
15.
There's a lot.
I think it's 10 to 15.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, we're releasing 1 to 2. We've been doing a couple like high quality music videos on top.
High quality.
They are high quality.
Hey, thanks.
High quality,
I make
very
them.
unpaid, very unpaid.
They're very fun.
Yeah, our last music video was Wagyu or King of Wagyu Scraps, which we collaborated with a production company in Brooklyn called Dead Sheep Films.
Cool.
And yeah, these guys Dustin and Doug, like these are like day one, like
Also
best
friends, yeah.
Yeah, like thank God. I'm trying to make them sound like exclusive, like they're in Brooklyn.
They're
but,
still kind of exclusive.
but yeah, like they're our best friends and like they helped us a lot. But that song came out more like 90s American Pie style. I don't know. It was like not jazzy, but yeah, like yeah, I would say 1 to 2 per month. That's been our goal, and like no one's holding their breath for a Bear Maze album, so we're just kind of like on our own, pace. And
the rough trajectory right
tell
now
you,
is like one until every like month until December right now.
Yeah.
Doing singles is the way to go right now, though. I mean, we just dropped our album in November, and it's like, you dropped it, and then what?
Now what?
Right.
Now what?
It's
Now
almost
what?
the same
There-
momentum.
there it goes. That's everything we had.
Yeah.
Now what?
Yeah.
But you guys, you're on the right track. I mean, setting something out like in the world every, once a month, twice a month, whatever, and social media is the name of the game, so you've got fresh content constantly.
Yeah.
And we've been really trying to push video content. Like Nick has a psycho sense of humor, just like constantly coming up with skits and different characters.
I'm gonna go and watch.
I didn't
some of this
notice
stuff.
that.
we
after this.
we have made like a bunch of like fake infomercials. We're working on a number of like weird Seinfeld-esque skits right now.
Oh, yeah,
like we're
a
just
mockumentary,
filming like mockumentary stuff. And we're just
Oh,
coming up
wow.
with as many like dumb advertisement ideas as we can. So
You
it's
guys
like,
seem like a lot of fun.
we really
man.
we don't even try. We're just trying to like just be sane, I guess.
So it's the project sort of centered around Raincat Studios. But are you guys like for right now? Is this what you're doing? Like real pushing this? Is this an important project to you guys?
Bear Maze?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because like right now, like Nick was saying, like we're doing a lot of video content. So sometimes, and even the social media, it's like sometimes it's like I'm like, man, are we even a band? Because like this seems like a whole production company now. Like, I
digital
don't
marketing,
know, like, yeah. So it's just different. But like,
I guess what I mean, because you're talking about the traveling on but is it like you
yeah,
guys
yeah.
kind of like locked in for the long haul with this?
yeah, my goal is like I want to see how long I can stay in Bear Maze.
We're all extremely committed and uncommitted at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay,
We
got it.
don't have band practice.
Yeah,
I
I mean-
don't even live in South Florida.
Yeah.
Are you guys
But
doing
we've-
any live shows or?
We've done a handful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a small, a child's handful.
If anybody booked us for
There's
something,
like
we'd
2,
show up
3.
and play it. But we're
That's
not.
awesome.
We haven't been pushing that because like Brian's super busy at the studio. I've been living in the woods in the bus in Gainesville, playing in a post rock band up there, and I come down here often. My family's down here, and like anytime
I've been
I get
busy with ice skating lessons.
yeah, ice skating and work.
Yeah,
so
true.
whenever like the inspiration's really there, we show up and make it happen. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can swizzle.
The
You can
music's
swizzle.
not going to go anywhere.
the music's
I
not
mean,
going anywhere.
Yeah.
Like we can, like what I try to keep it at is like, at least from a personal level, is like, can you drop and give me 10 like right now? Like if someone has an open mic, like can I just get some, like can I get a set out, you know, because like because I do like to stay in just writing mode, and like it's hard for me to just and then like when you have shows you got to pivot and practice and like really be on that. So like I just like I try to keep like like right now it's like I'm taking a break from just the practicing as much. Like I'm like I want to go explore and kind of like be stimulated again, and then like let it work itself back out and so forth. But yeah, I think like we're open to shows. It's been kind of hard to crack the local scene. Like I just feel like we're not talking to the right people.
I was going to ask you like how you found it. The local music scene. I think some of my favorite bands right now, like there's I really like down in Miami, I love the band Donzi. They are like they're just freaky, like crazy good live performers. Right. And then this band Hot Tension, they're like this surf rock noir vibe. Very nice. But for the most part, like I went to the Microfest in Lake Worth down at Propaganda and Rudy's and whatnot. Yeah. And like I just there was some cool stuff, and I just big shout out to Pure Honey with Steve, because Steve Rollman, like he gets a lot of bands down here. That's the first time I saw Pearl and the Oysters years ago when they came to Voltaire. I saw them and I was like, oh my gosh! I mean, like I was just like so grateful for that, because coming to West Palm is like it's not top of the list for a lot of bands. So so I would again, like I kind of feel like I haven't. Like there's good stuff out there, but I just feel like I haven't found my tribe, and like locked into it somehow.
And we're not, and you know, I don't know if we're like considered maybe, I don't want to say like dead weight on the bill, but like, you know, we don't have like we just haven't been able to like get out there and like really like get people like fired up, because like I feel like because like I want to go ape shit on stage, like I want to get like absolutely out of my mind, but I also feel like it's just the right, like it just stars aren't aligned on that quite yet, but so we're just in studio rat mode and just like, you know, screw it, like let's just do it.
Well, we're gonna get you playing like in front of people down here, that's for sure. If you'll let us.
All right. I appreciate y'all.
Justin and I were just talking. I've got another band with Justin that we're in Euphoria, and we were just talking about how your music kind of pairs, you know.
Oh heck yeah,
pairs well with ours.
This is great timing. Yeah. He's leaving.
Yeah, it's good. I fly back though. It's like a big thing for me to be able to travel and drop into different like pockets of creativity and like
I
different.
Love that.
Well, we don't play. You know, we don't play that often, and it's kind of like you were saying. You know, we're really focused on an album that we're trying to put out. And so we're really focused on that, and you know, making sure that we have everything ready for that and getting that ready. And then all of a sudden, you know, a show will pop up. So we're planning a show like this Saturday. Nice. And so, you know, 2 weeks ago when we locked all that in, like then we had to kind of pivot and change our practices to, hey, let's practice our set for the show, you know. And so you know, it kind of goes back and forth. But yeah, I mean, Euphoria is very. I don't even know how to describe it. We call it like theatrical rock. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it.
You just got to be there.
It's very just odd, weird, fun music. I don't know. Yeah. It's hard to describe, but
I think you guys.
Yeah, we fit that category. That's totally
cool. Odd, weird, fun music.
Yes,
it's so funny. We've always been slightly askew. Like I remember, like, because when Nick and I were in a band in high school, Resignation of Today, it was like we ended up on the bill with like
hardcore bands.
Brian's like heavy,
it's probably because you knew us.
But we were like weird, aggressive post rock or something.
Yeah, there was punk indie vibes, and then like because we were obsessed with like Bear vs Shark at the drive-in.
Bear vs Shark forever.
Like these bands, and then like and we were kind of coming in just like. I was
we were
dancing.
High energy. I yelled a lot.
Yeah, it was a weird, aggressive like indie, and we just ended up playing with these really heavy bands. Like my favorite.
A lot.
Oh yeah. Slippers all day. And then like I remember seeing like shows like I think bands like Barriers Not Bridges were playing. Dude. I think we shared a bill, or like we were definitely in those circles. Like, and that was one of my favorite bands to this day. Like Barriers Not Bridges.
We just played. Killbillies just played a show in was it Vero?
Yeah.
And it was literally like hardcore punk band, hardcore punk band, Killbillies, hardcore punk band, hardcore punk band. I mean, it was just the oddest thing. We were talking, man. We were like a breath of fresh air.
Just how everyone else is punk, that you start, it's almost better because you go poof and everyone's, you know, it's exciting to have something different. But listen, on the subject of, I guess everything's on the subject of music. Why don't you guys play us a couple of tunes? Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
Sure.
Let's play.
Yes.
All right.
All right, this song is called Daisy by Bear Maze.
never have to be alone. I'm not some 25-cent prize, not a pawn to play to your vice. Kisses cold as ice, always lonely but you never wow my time. You're tender like an angel that nothing can touch. But tell me baby, have you ever really been loved? Bored by work and you're bored by lust. I'm bored by hurt but it's all that I trust. Why wait on a daisy? They'll grow when you die. Why wait on a baby? They'll pass on by. Why wait on me, baby? Ain't even gonna lie. Why wait on a daisy? They'll grow when you gave my heart, gave my soul. All you wanted was your own. Kept you warm when you were cold. Hope you're happier alone. Not some 25-cent prize, not a pawn to play to your vice. Your kisses cold as ice, always lonely but you never wow my time. You're tender like an angel that nothing can touch. But tell me baby, have you ever really been loved? Bored by work and you're bored by lust. I'm bored by hurt but it's all that I trust. Why wait on a daisy? They'll grow when you die. Why wait on a baby? They'll pass on by. Why wait on me, baby? Ain't even gonna lie. Why wait on a daisy? They'll grow when you die. crash, I just rolled up.
.561 Music is sponsored by Jupiter Inlet Boat Rentals. Jupiter Inlet Boat Rentals and Boat Club is Palm Beach County's premier boat rental company and boat rental club. They have been in continuous operation since the year 2000 on the beautiful waters of Jupiter Inlet. It is the affordable alternative to boat ownership. Their membership club ranks number 1 in both quality, availability and customer satisfaction. You'll choose from their fleet of boats consisting of deck boats, dual consoles and center consoles. Rent offshore fishing boats, deluxe cruising boats, and plush deck boats, all powered by 4-stroke outboard engines. Their vessels are fully equipped for your safety and comfort with styles suitable for ocean and intracoastal use. They are located just 2 minutes away from the mouth of Jupiter Inlet, which means fast access and the most beautiful stretch of the intracoastal. In fact, no other boat company can match their ideal location. Fishermen will be thrilled to note that sports fishing starts just a quarter mile offshore and the warm Gulf Stream is a mere 3 miles from the shore. The address is 1095 North A1A, Jupiter, Florida 33477, and you can find it at jupiterinletboatrentals.com. The telephone is 561-741-1212. In their efforts to make boating affordable, they offer rental discount membership programs that do not require a large investment up front. You pay a little to join and pay as you go. Other boat rental clubs take all your money up front, charge a monthly maintenance fee, and hope you never show up. At Jupiter Inlet Boat Club, plans start at $700 to join, and each time you take out a boat, daily fees start at just $249 plus fuel. There are no monthly fees. If you have heard of the boat club from 561 Music, please let them know when you call or go there to book a boat, and the friendly staff will take that into account and take care of you. We are also sponsored by Oasis Root. Now, Oasis Root Kava Bar is in Sea Grape Square on Indiantown Rd, and it is a kava bar. If you don't know anything about kava, it's a Polynesian root that you grind up and you mix with water, and it has been in Polynesia for potentially thousands of years. It's an old thing that they used for kind of ceremonial and also sort of leisure purposes. It's meant to be something where, that brings people together. You all take a shell of kava and chink them together and say bula and have it together like that. It's meant to be something to bring people together. It's has a kind of an effect, which is, I guess, a kind of a slightly warming effect. It just kind of makes you feel nice. It's not particularly intoxicating. It's not like drinking alcohol. So the atmosphere in a kava bar is sort of like a cross between a regular bar and a coffee house. It's pretty chill in there. You get all sorts of different types of kava bars. Some of them are more like a club, there's sort of like blacklight and EDM playing. And some of them are more like a cafe. This is one of the cafe type of ones. It's super chill in there. If you're looking for somewhere to, I don't know, maybe go and do some work on your laptop or go and have a chat with friends, it's perfect for that kind of thing. There's a foosball table in there if that's your jam, or baby-foot as they call it in France. And Jim, the owner, is a really cool guy, and he has very kindly sponsored our podcast. So thank you very, very much for that, Jim. They also do a poker night in there, all sorts of things going on at Oasis Root Kava Bar. 561 Music is sponsored by Live Music Community. It's where we film the podcast that you're listening to right now, and it's also where I work. Gavin, Hector's son, was a student here for a long time, and in many ways he's the musician he is today because of the teachers at Live Music Community. We taught him not only about his instrument, but also about being in a band, and his band, Unemployed Youth, accomplished a lot of goals, mostly band etiquette, how to work together, and all of the nitty-gritty that goes into being in a band on a day-to-day basis. The student signs up for lessons, learns their instrument, joins a real band, and decides the direction it goes in. And we can take people from very young age, 6 or 7 years old, all the way up to 80. There's no age limit here. We've run an adult program for people who want to be in a band as adults, but really the main focus is on the kids and getting them playing together and in bands. We are also a studio, a live stream venue, and we can record audio or video. The Killbillies live album, Warts and All, was recorded here. It was recorded during a live stream that we did during COVID. Justin had a great idea to record live streams during COVID. A ton of bands came in, and it was a real success. But outside of that, we can record albums, we can help you with your EPK, and we have full audio-visual capabilities here. LMC is in Palm Beach Gardens on the northwest corner of Military Trail and North Lake Boulevard. It's north of the gas station, right before you get to North Lake on Military Trail. And if you go to livemusiccommunity.com, you have all the information you'll need right there. So we were just listening to an ad about Live Music Community. It's where we're sat right now. Do you have any advice for upcoming musicians, by any chance?
Oh, you're going to defer to me? Yeah, totally. Music has been an integral part of like my development. So the idea of like just getting good to produce a product or to be cool or whatever, like that's all secondary. To have music as this space that you can like enter into and practice and have it as something that you rely on when things are rough or rely on when things are awesome or whatever. It just becomes this lifelong friend, and to nurture that, I think, is paramount beyond any kind of practice or anything.
Absolutely. I couldn't
awesome
agree
answer.
more. Yeah, totally. Anyone else got any pearls of wisdom on the subject?
Just keep playing, I mean, I feel like people put a lot of pressure on themselves, if it is to practice or to continue, with becoming super efficient. But it's really sad when people stop playing music because there's a period in their life where maybe they don't feel as inspired or whatnot. But I feel like even if you leave that guitar in the corner of your room for a year or two, like, just don't sell it unless you really don't want to play, because music, like he said, it's a lifelong pursuit, and you will get better forever. And you can always meet people. You can make money if you want to. It'll be your best friend, so I don't understand why people stop, and you don't even have to be good to get joy out of it. Yeah. Like you said, master, to master something. But as soon as you said that, my thought was, who really needs to be a master of anything to get everything you want to get out of music? Yeah. I mean, to write a song, you don't need to be a master.
No, totally, and I'm glad I asked you the question, because I thought that was a very wise answer, and I appreciate it. So
I feel like I could contribute to this by saying like all the things that how I ruined it and what not to do, because I've definitely I've had expectations and sucked the fun out of it in many ways that were not conducive to the enjoyment and the process of it. So I think what happened most recently was I've been bringing musical gear off and on Wednesdays to the Friends of Foster Children and volunteering there and just setting everything up and then letting the kids kind of run wild and play music. That's and awesome. Seeing that it kind of helped me relearn how to just kind of just have fun, and not take it so seriously. I would say don't take it too seriously. That's the one. Yeah. Because that when I feel like kids just come at it with they don't they don't care. They're just gonna have fun with it. And when you can keep that light heart about it, you'll I think that's just a good way to approach it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So we would just listen to a couple of songs. Could you tell us a little bit about the songs? What are they about?
Okay. Change Too Fast is about feeling stuck in you're waking up to who you are, you're not happy with it, and you just you're trying everything you can to change. So again, it's just about trying to believe in your dream and letting that set you free. And so it's a lot of you can't really wrestle or fight the things that you don't want to be. You just have to kind of give yourself grace and let those things shed. And then when in doing so, hopefully, you can kind of follow that light and find your way out.
Yeah, awesome.
And then the first song that we play. Wait, have we played yet?
Yeah.
We have played?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, then this first song we played was Daisy. And that one is it's about seizing your moment and about like, again, it's just very simple. It's, you know, the why wait on a daisy? They'll grow when you die. So
Right.
just kind of take what you have and just like be grateful for that and just run with it. I think, you know, that Ben, that's like something that really came up, and I think why I've struggled to enjoy music sometimes, because I do feel that imminence of time.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you feel under the gun like when you're trying to finish an album or when you're working on stuff, but it's like there just never seems to be enough time, and it's like it's very I just feel that pressure, and so and I think there, you know, and I don't know if. Tell me if this happened in your life, but like in phases, like for me, it was my late 20s. I call it backwards progress. And that was basically like hands off the wheel. I do not care like what happens at this point.
Yeah.
And that was really scary because I feel like I squandered a lot of time and a lot of opportunity.
I feel the same way.
Okay. Yeah. So Daisy just kind of, I think it just speaks to that.
Yeah, excellent. That's big themes, and I'm all about them.
Yeah.
So we got a couple of pictures of your instruments. I think we're going to take a look at this guitar first. It's what a beast. Could you tell us a bit about your guitar? I guess.
Gosh, yeah, because I would just gosh,
Look at it.
it sounds yeah. Actually, you know, dang, my that was really like the last time I saw my dad, and I don't want to. We're not gonna go that way with this, but anyways, that was, you know, I was Christmas. I was like I must have been like 14, 15, and he left this on my front doorstep, and like you know, I always listened to rock and roll. My first concert, Ben, was Motley Crue and Megadeth, and so he like I just had that strain of rock and roll, you know, growing up with my dad, seeing him on the weekends. So he left that with me, and that guitar is like super special because I played it through school. But I was not the first one to play that. My friend Jeff Coulter, who was in a band with Brian, was the first person to really rock that on at a show.
Really?
And he was in a metal band with Brian, and he just went like ham on it. And because I didn't know what to do with it, I'm like, I'm not rock and roll enough to play this. You know, I didn't know. I felt intimidated, but
It makes you rock and roll enough to play it just by holding it.
yeah,
There's actually blood spatter on that underneath the strings.
I love that you've never cleaned that.
yeah, and it was crazy. So that just is like such a sentimental guitar for me because I just I played it with Nick growing up in high school in our band, and you know, we've toured around Florida with it, and like it's just that's my
That's
baby.
like the guitar.
The guitar,
You don't
yes.
even play another guitar. That's the
the
freaking
acoustic
one.
guitars and that.
Yeah, it's super light action. It's just it's light as a feather, and you could shred on it. I don't. But you could.
You could. It was made for that.
I like it because it just gives you this really like I don't know.
It sounds
think
great.
jazz chords sound so delicate and beautiful on it that I just, you know, but you can turn up and rock out
Get
on
chunky.
that thing. I remember in high school I was dancing on stage. Like I don't know, I had the bug, and like I was just, but that thing is so light. You can just, I mean, you feel like you're floating when you play that.
That's awesome because it doesn't look like it would be. I've got to pick it up later and see what you're talking about. It looks like it would be heavy, but I guess not. That's awesome.
Is the cozy and cuddly sign
This was from a video shoot. that we did.
descriptive of the guitar?
Yes.
Is your guitar cozy and cuddly to you?
Good eye, Hector. Damn it.
It's all the pointy edges that make it so cuddly.
So cozy and cuddly.
That we took apart that's my roommate's house in the background. He was gone. He was in Michigan, and we shot a video there.
They just tore the house up. Just
We
got
had
everything
a-
out of the garage and put it in the living room. Hung lights everywhere.
Oh, that's awesome.
Full-on art party.
So we got a picture of your bass too, Nick. Why don't we?
Here we go. This is original Mark Hoppus. I think I got this in like 2004, maybe.
Right on.
I have not changed the strings in a really long time.
Since 2004?
No, I've definitely changed it since then. This was also like this was my second bass. I had like a real cheap jazz bass before this, but once the signature Mark Hoppus came out, it was just after, I don't know, when their self-titled Blink-182 record came out.
Yeah.
And there was a pink version of this, and I was like losing my mind. I really wanted it. And my we couldn't get it because it sold out immediately. So Seafoam Green it is, and
I don't think in the long term.
I think it's aged really well. I show up. I play in a post rock band in Gainesville right now called Loris, and I show up with this thing, and people are a little confused. But I recently played a 5-string Music Man and with big active pickups, and I played it for a little bit, and after that, I was like, I am never gonna buy another bass ever again because this thing just is really well rounded. It's got a good punch to it. The neck is a little fat on it, and I can walk really fun. And I play with a pick and play kind of like a goon, so I can play this bass really hard. I put it through the ceiling in St. Petersburg once at a shitty dive bar, and it's just like treated me really well, even though it's yellowing a little bit on that.
I'll tell you, man. Like I, as a bass player and stuff, like I am 100% convinced that. I mean, I see all these people that talk about this instrument or that instrument and this brand and that brand. I mean, if you're comfortable with it and it sounds good and you can make it sound nice,
it's all good.
It's it, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a couple of basses that are, not cheap.
Yep.
But the fact remains that, I've played $200 basses that sound amazing to me,
I get psyched out. Like when it's just brand new and just pristine and like expensive, I don't know, it does a thing to me.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Same thing. I mean, like I was playing some Thunderbirds for a while, stuff
I played
like that.
a Thunderbird recently
they're like $300-$400. They're not,
Yeah.
not expensive basses. But then I was like, oh, I got to get a Music Man or whatever.
Yeah.
And I went to Guitar Center and I sat the same thing. I sat there for like 15 minutes and I was like, yeah, it's just not for me.
Yeah.
That Thunderbird's neck dive for days, man. I would play that thing and just.
I still have. I was with Justin, as a matter of fact. We were in a Nirvana tribute band for a number of years,
all right.
and I tried. We tried to emulate like the same looks and the same feels. So I had a 5-string Thunderbird, I had 4-string. Well, I still do. I have a 5-string Thunderbird, a 4-string Thunderbird. I have a Gibson Eagle. These are all like like real similar to the ones that they had and stuff. But yeah, man, it was fun.
I played in a jam band in Denver, and the guitar players are total nerds. They have pedals for everything, and setup takes forever because everybody's tweaking everything. And if you move a knob, an absolute hemorrhage happens. It's just I get such a sense of like pride in like. I plugged it in, I turned the gain on, and I'm going to play with a pick. That's it. That's all I'm going to do. I don't want any effects, nothing. If I need to do volume, I have a volume knob.
Yeah,
and that's the best thing about the Mark Hoppus. It just has a volume knob. There's no tone. It's just wide open all the time. And like, just play well. That's it.
Hell yeah, man.
That's awesome.
So, have you guys got anything coming up that we should know about?
I'm playing a show on Sunday in Gainesville.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, at the Backyard with band Loris and Orbiter, which is also from Gainesville. And then... oh my God, the actual headlining band. Spotlights, they're playing. So it's going to be a heavy show, super cool.
So if anyone's up in Gainesville,
go
check them out. That sounds like a lot of fun. In terms of the band, is there any releases coming up in the near future or anything like that?
Yeah, we have a song called Annihilate coming out in June. That'll be streaming on all platforms. And then... we just dropped, this was like most recently, but I just want to kind of give it a plug, is that the Fell in Love with a Girl, we released that cover song for Bear Maze. It's only on YouTube because it costs like $15 a month to like distribute it like on Spotify and stuff because it's a cover song. I don't know, it was a weird thing.
Okay.
But what we did with that song is like we took the melody and we just put like kind of just a bunch of jazz chords behind it and just tried to kind of like groove it out a bit. Yeah. So Fell in Love it's got that hard gritty vibe. We kind of went a different direction with this and hopefully didn't bastardize it. But yeah, I absolutely love that song. And we've done that a couple times. Like I think in the future, Bear Maze will have like a couple like jazzy kind of covers. Like
nice.
we had Hybrid Moments where we're gonna record that.
You guys have such a sound. In that way, it's quite similar to our band Killbillies in the sense that no matter what you play, it would sound like you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And there's certain bands that have that. You know, where it's like it's the sound is the thing rather than I don't know. Like because Killbillies, it's like we could play a Journey tune or we could play like Arctic Monkeys tune and it would still sound like us. You know what I mean?
Well, and we do. I mean, we have a ton of original stuff, but then we have a ton of cover stuff because we go out and play these 3 and 4 hour gigs and we have to cover the night. But I mean, we play like Tiffany, I think we're alone now, and it sounds like hillbillies. They just can't get away from our sound.
I think there's something that's like really cool once people play music for long enough, and they have like their methods, they have like their techniques, and then there's just like this personal transparency that happens. Like Nick hits us with chord charts, and like I know how Brian's gonna play. I know like how I'm gonna play, and it's just like there isn't any like formulating or thinking about it whatsoever. It just happens, and I think that's when it's effortless, and then it just happens so easily.
Well, I'll tell you, I've said this plenty of times before. I've said it to a lot of people, and in fact, just this weekend, I was talking to a musician on Sunday that I ran into somewhere, and he's looking for another band, etc. His band just didn't work out for him, and we were talking about bandmates and things like that. It's important to surround yourself with good musicians. It's more important to surround yourself with people you click with and people you gel with and people that you're becoming lifelong friends with, essentially, because at the end of the day, like, I mean, you can have Eddie Van Halen in your band, and if he's a dick, you're not going to want to hang out with him.
No one's having fun.
No one's having fun,
Totally.
And if you're fortunate enough, like, I fell into Killbillies, and I'm fortunate enough to have Ben and James, who are, phenomenal musicians, then it works out even better because you're playing with great musicians and you do become, good friends or whatever. But it just makes the longevity of the band way better. I mean, I've been in bands with great musicians that are just a bunch of dicks, and the band lasted 3 months. I've been in bands with mediocre musicians that were, good friends, and the band lasted a really long time. It's just
it's so funny. Yeah, like I appreciate you saying that because like I think it is important because you can tell like when people are not having fun, it's just not
it's really
comfortable.
It
doesn't translate.
No, we've had people come up to us at the end of the shows, and they're just like, and here's the thing, we don't have a drummer, so Ben's playing a snare drum with his foot, and James is playing a kick drum with his foot, and then I've got this ginormous stand-up bass in front of me. So we're not jumping around the stage, we're not moving around a lot, we're kind of just standing there, and I always feel weird about that. Like, oh, we must not look like we're having fun. I can't tell you how many times people come up to us at the end of a show, and they're like, "You guys are smiling, and you're having so much fun, and I love this, and whatever." It's just awesome, man. And that's the thing.
We start playing, and then we all look around and we're like grinning at each other.
We're laughing like little girls, man. It's funny. But I could just like see it with you guys, man. That's why I was mentioning that. Is I could just see it with you guys. You guys have like amazing chemistry, and you guys just look like you enjoy each other's company, and that translates to when you're playing a show for sure. There's no doubt about that.
It's friendship before music, probably with the band.
That's awesome.
It's bros before hoes. Is that what it is? No, I meant before notes.
Yeah, there you go.
Bros before notes.
Throats before notes.
Yeah. That's it.
Oh man, well, good save.
Right? No, that was a terrible save. But thank you anyway. Don't worry, I'll edit this out later.
I wonder if like our relationship status could be said like as complicated as a band, because like at the same time I wonder, like, I don't know, like I would like to see them like do whatever they feel they need to do too, and like I appreciate, I think you guys give that to me as well, which I appreciate. So like it's kind of one of those things, it's like if we have a show and like Brian has something going on, it's like, respect, you have your life, like we're gonna make it work. Or like if Nick's out in Colorado handling his business or whatever it is, like it's like respect, like it's not like the pressure of like this is the band first. It's like no, like we all we're flexible like that, and like
okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean, perfect example is I'm gonna call you out here a little bit. Perfect example is I've been joking around with Ben, but I guess I've been saying it kind of in a serious voice, like every now and then, like if something looks like it's bothering me, I'm like, oh, fuck this, dude, I gotta quit this band. What I've been saying it a lot, like under my breath, but on purpose in front of Ben, and I thought I was making it clear that it was a joke, but apparently not. And so Ben sends me a text the other day, and he's like, hey man, I feel like you're really stressed out with the band, and like it's overwhelming. And he's like, look, if we got to cut back on shows, if we got to do it, he's like, but just come talk to me, man. Friendship before band, blah blah blah, whatever. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. But no, I'm good.
That's a great time.
I want to quit the band.
I'm good.
Hector, that's genius.
I
gotta get out of here. I don't like this at all.
Oh God, I think I quit Killbillies. I kid you not. I must quit Killbillies 15 times a week. And then I'm like,
he can play me like a film.
And then I'm like, oh shit, it's Friday. I guess I'm back in Killbillies. We got 3 gigs this weekend.
See you at the show.
On the subject, we have a gig at Double Roads from 5:30 to 8.
Yeah.
On Friday.
Ben's going to England on Sunday.
Yeah.
And last Saturday was supposed to be our last gig until the 16th, but then we lied and.
Yeah, we ended up just getting a gig. It was like yesterday.
Double Roads?
Yeah, on Friday.
Original set? Like straight up?
Both.
Yeah.
I thought they were like, they
covers.
kind of did like a more standard blues thing or something.
Well,
like,
I think that they do all sorts of different stuff. The slot we're playing is 5:30 to 8, and it's a little bit earlier, and so we're not like the main attraction that day.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So we're doing the 5:30 to 8 slot, happy hour kind of slot, and we've got 2 1-hour sets. So we'll probably do 1 hour of originals and 1 hour of covers. I don't know, something like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
And actually, ironically, we just found out today that we're going to start doing. Was it Tuesdays?
Every other.
Is it the first and third Tuesdays? I think
I missed that part.
Fox and Foes band is going to have a jam night. It's 2 Tuesdays a month, alternating Tuesdays. They have a jam night at Double Roads, and then on the other Tuesdays, whichever ones they are, the alternating Tuesdays, 561 Music is putting together through Sally and through Double Roads. We're putting together original music nights.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's really cool.
Which doesn't happen very often at venues and stuff.
No, but it's really cool of Vince. It's really cool of Sally to bring it to us and ask if we wanted to help. So we're just stoked because part of the whole mission of this podcast was to get more people playing more original stuff around town, and it's quite a difficult thing to get going, and we all have busy lives, but this just fell in our lap, and it's great.
Yeah. It's a funny thing. There's a lot of venue owners out there that for whatever reason, like they have the budget to hire a band, and for whatever reason, they insist on that it has to be a cover band because people have to know the music and et cetera, and there's this, I guess, stigma or something that the band has to bring people and the band has to keep people entertained, and that the only way to do that is with cover music, and that's just not true. I mean, and no offense to any of the cover bands out there. In fact, we're 50-50. We're like a half cover band, half original band. So no offense to all the cover bands out there. In fact, there's plenty of places that fits and that should continue. But I do think venues need to start having even just one night a week where, especially these venues that have music 7 nights a week, like just one night a week, even an off night, a Monday, a Tuesday, have an original night. You have your budget, whatever that is. And original bands aren't playing for that long. Usually they have shorter sets. They're not expecting a lot of money or whatever. So whatever your budget is, you could probably get 2 or 3 original bands that same night. They each do a set. And I think people would appreciate being exposed to new music.
Totally.
Well, it's important just to to foster the culture down here and kind of get a little bit more of a depth of sort of interesting cultural stuff going on. It's important.
I mean, and the thing is, like, you can only listen to Brown Eyed Girl so many times.
So many times.
Surprising how many times you can listen to it. So, all right, thanks so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. You guys are super cool. And if you want to find our podcast, where do you find it?
561music.com has all the links to all of our podcast stuff, all the streaming, all the episodes, the YouTube link for Killbillies. Soon to have a link for Long Live the Scene, because we're going to start doing some stuff with them. Yeah. In fact, we just worked out a few dates with them with Ricky and the guys there to start putting together some pop-up 561 music shows. In between now and the next festival.
Wait, when's the next pop-up? I just saw something on it.
This Saturday.
This Saturday is the pop-up show?
Yeah, this Saturday there's a pop-up show. It is at Swampgrass Willie's.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's going to be 3 bands. It's going to be Young Fiction, The Buck Stops Here, and Euphoria, Justin and I's band.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Swampgrass has been doing it for freaking so long.
I've never
now.
been to that
Long
venue.
time.
Yeah,
That's
you gotta
awesome.
we'll see you
It's
Saturday.
tried and true. My first time.
It's 561music.com, and then all the socials at 561 Music Podcast. You can find us on all the socials. like, subscribe, follow. It's how the algorithms pick us up. It's how we get our information out there more to the fans and the listeners. And it's how we get all the bands more exposure, which is the mission of the podcast.
Absolutely it is. And I suppose with that, we're done, aren't we?
We're done.
So thank you very
Thank you
much,
guys so
fellas.
much.
Thanks,
Really
Hector.
appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Ben.
Yeah, wicked.
Thanks,
for being
Justin.
here.
Peace out.
Yeah.
Everybody sing, it's what we're doing. Come and check it